It might be the most anticipated move to ever happen in Formula One, Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari. And even though he finished his last 3 seasons on a low, when the car was up there with its performance, Hamilton was up there. Just look at some of the last races he drove for Mercedes, and how good he was in Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. This just showed us all that when given a good car, he'll make it happen. And that's exactly what he's getting at Ferrari next year, and even more. The team is so focused on the entry of the 7-time world champion that Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur even expects Lewis Hamilton to improve the Scuderia's thinking as it continues to strive towards its first Formula One world title since 2008. And what he had to say about next year for Ferrari and Hamilton is promising for every fan in red. So, can they make dreams come true? And will they be able to create history together? Before we dive into Vasseur's words and expectations for Hamilton at Ferrari, I'd like to know your expectations. Will it be a success? Let me know in the comments down below. Ferrari fought for this year's Constructors' Championship with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz until the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, when its 21-point deficit to McLaren proved too much to overcome, and it finished 14 points behind the crown, defeated by race winner Lando Norris's flawless drive. Nonetheless, this has been the team's most successful season in terms of Grand Prix victories, 5, and podium places, 22, dating back to Sebastian Vettel's attempt for the driver's title in 2018. Ferrari has rebounded under Vasseur's guidance since he became team principal in January 2023, and the Frenchman is certain that new signing Hamilton will make a difference when he replaces Sainz and drives next to Leclerc next year. Hamilton has spent the last 18 seasons racing for McLaren and Mercedes, both of which are British-based teams, and Vasseur believes that this different culture will benefit the isolated Scuderia, which typically employs a large contingent of Italian engineers and mechanics as one of Formula One's 3 teams based outside of England. Unconcerned about Hamilton's recent lack of one-lap speed, Vasseur believes the Briton's work ethic will make a difference when margins are as close as they were this season. I am convinced that Lewis will come with his own experience, with the background of 18 years in F1, with a couple of titles, and so, Vasseur said following the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And it will be a real push to keep this mindset, to try to do a bit better everywhere. I perfectly remember with Lewis in 2005-6 that he was already like this, pushing on the small details, he added, referring to his time leading the ASM RT outfit in junior single-seaters. Hamilton dominated the 2005 F3 Euro Series and the 2006 GP2 Series, the forerunner of F2, while racing for the French team. At the end of the day, if you have a look, I think that on average the delta between McLaren and us in qualifying was a couple of hundredths. And we are really at this stage, also with Red Bull and Mercedes, that we are speaking about details. We really need to have this kind of mindset to chase the last 1,000th in every single area. And I think Lewis will be a good asset for this also. Hamilton, however, has made it plain that he is not underestimating the challenge he faces at Maranello. Of course, it really sparks motivation, and it's a dream scenario for any driver to have an opportunity like this, said the future Ferrari driver at Yas Marina on Thursday. So, don't take that for granted. I realize it's a steep, I remember when I joined Mercedes, and it's not an easy step to ever enter into a new team. And it takes time to build new relationships and learn the tools and everything. Coming into next year with that same focus, that same might that I had when I joined Mercedes, and with, ultimately, that leap of faith, I think is exciting and exhilarating. However, at the same time, Lewis Hamilton says he is missing something by not driving the Ferrari SF24 in the Abu Dhabi test, which was denied by Mercedes due to prior set obligations for Hamilton in Malaysia after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Hamilton competed in his farewell Grand Prix with the Silver Arrows in Abu Dhabi on Sunday night, where he drove like a world champion, according to Toto Wolff, moving from 16th on the grid to 4th at the checkered flag. Hamilton bid farewell to Mercedes, at least on the track, on Sunday night, as he heads to Ferrari next season after signing a multi-year contract. However, while the driver he is replacing, Carlos Sainz, was at the Yas Marina track for his new team Williams post-season test on Tuesday, Hamilton was in Kuala Lumpur for a Petronas event. The 7-time world champion confesses he was uncertain about competing in the SF24 on Tuesday, but it was ultimately settled by his Mercedes post-season commitments. He does, however, acknowledge that he is missing out on something by not receiving the additional day of experience with Ferrari. "I know Fred Vasseur wanted it to happen," Hamilton explained. "I was in two minds. Driving the red car for the first time in Abu Dhabi does not excite me. In the perfect world, you'd get to drive it and not be seen, and do the first rollout next year. When I did raise it with Toto, they had all these plans that I've got to go and see some of the sponsors and say their farewells. I don't think it was ever going to be allowed even if I'd asked for it. But I'm contracted with the team until December 31st, and that's totally fine. It doesn't bother me because I wasn't going to do the test. I told Fred that's not what I want to do. Am I missing out on something? For sure. It definitely delays the process and makes the start of the year harder, but we'll do our best to recover from it." While Sainz was learning about his F1 2025 team's processes, pit stop routines, and even the setup of the steering wheel, Hamilton will need to catch up next season. He will still be able to gain a feel for Ferrari before the team releases its F1 2025 car, as Ferrari intends to do a private test for the 39-year-old at the Fiorano circuit in a 2-year-old Ferrari early next year. As a result, Ferrari team chief Fred Vasseur was unconcerned with Hamilton's absence from Tuesday's test. "I'm not sure he needs so many hours of acclimatization," Vasseur said. "He is experienced enough to be quick on the first day, or at least very soon. We'll have 1 or 2 TPC days, plus the test in Bahrain, and that will be enough." After those test days, it will be full push to get Ferrari a pole position during the first race of the season in Australia. And according to reports from outside and within the team, things are looking good for 2025. I mean, we've all seen them revive their title bid in recent months, so we can expect big things to come. But fans aren't the only ones noticing it, as Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur feels the Scuderia's reaction to being in the shit earlier this year speaks well for its 2025 Formula One season. Despite a late season surge, the Italian manufacturer finished second to McLaren in the constructors' standings, having slipped behind the eventual winners and Red Bull in early 2024. However, wins for Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz in a continuous effort nearly saw Ferrari overturn the gap to the top, but it proved too much to ask as Lando Norris's triumph in Abu Dhabi sealed the championship for McLaren. Given its early season struggles, particularly in Spain, Ferrari finished 5th and 6th, and Austria, Sainz finished 3rd but Leclerc returned pointless. Vasseur was asked what the most positive aspect of the campaign was. "I think it was the fact that we improved, and we were able to react in the tough moments. To have a good team dynamic and do good results, it's one thing, but to react when you are in the shit like we were in Spain and Austria, it's quite important for the future of the team. It's this kind of reaction that we are building up for the future, that trust that we can have in each other, and I think it was the most important step of the season." Given decreasing returns from development as F1 approaches the last year of the current technical regulations, Ferrari is once again poised to compete for its first title of any type since the 2008 Constructors' Championship. On the main topic on Ferrari's agenda, Vasseur explained, "I don't know, because I think it would be a mistake to think that there is one thing. If you want to do a good job, you have to be focused on every single pillar of the performance, on every single area. It is true for every single part of the car, but I don't want to start going through the list, because if I do that, I don't want to point a finger at one group. But I think in every single area and department of the company, we just have to do a better job." This is not a criticism, it's just that it has to be the mindset of the team that we have to come in each morning and try to do a better job than yesterday and try to improve what we are doing by hundredths of seconds. But this mindset is general for sport, and if we don't have it, we are dead. I will continue to push all with praise, that they are first to be convinced that they are all a performance contributor on every level. And on every single area, we have to do a better job than 2024. What are your thoughts? Will Hamilton's experience propel the squad to the highest of heights again? Or will they find out that two star players in one team might mess things up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.